Krishna. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Ballabha Girivaradari. Gopi Jan Ballabha Girivaradari. Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanochari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hey Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. No Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari. Gopi Jana Ballabha Girivaradari. Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana. Yashoda Nandana Brajajanaranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hey Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayam Vishnupad, Paramahamsa Paragraj Jagacharya, Ashtatara Satashishimad, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki, Grantaraj, Srimad Bhagavatam Ki, Nitai Go Premanande. All glories to the Summa devotees, all glories to the Summa devotees, all glories to the Summa devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Narayanam namaskritya naram cheva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam Tato Jayam Budirayat. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, canto 9, chapter 4, chapter entitled Ambarish Maharaj, offended by Devasa Muni, text number 27. Griheshu dareshu suteshu bandushu Dvipotamas nandanavajivatushu Akshaya ratna baranam baradishu Ananta kosheshva karada sanmatim Griheshu dareshu suteshu bandushu Dvipotamas nyandanavajivatushu Akshaya ratna baranam baradishu Ananta koseshva karada sanmatim Griheshu dareshu suteshu bandushu Dvipotamas nyandanavajivatushu Akshaya ratna baranam baradishu Ananta koseshva karoda sanmatim Mataji's. Mataji's. Griheshu, in the homes. Dareshu, in wives. Suteshu, in children. Bandhushu, in relatives and friends. Dvipa Uttama, in the best of powerful elephants. Syandana, in nice chariots. Vaji, in first-class horses. Vastushu, in all such things. Akshaya, whose value never decreases. Ratna, in jewels. Abharana, in ornaments. Ambara Adishu, in such dresses and ornaments. Ananta Kosheshu, in an inexhaustible treasury. Akarot, accepted. Asatmatim, no attachment. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj Ambarish gave up all attachments in household affairs, wives, children, friends, and relatives, to the best of powerful elements, to beautiful chariots, carts, horses, and inexhaustible jewels, and to ornaments, garments, and an inexhaustible treasury. He gave up attachment to all of them, regarding them as temporary and material. Translation responsibly. Maharaj Ambarish gave up all attachments to household affairs, wives, children, friends, and relatives, to the best of powerful elements, to beautiful chariots, carts, horses, and inexhaustible jewels, and to ornaments, garments, and inexhaustible treasury. He gave up attachment to all of them, regarding them as temporary and material. Okay. Purport. Anasaktasya vishayan yataham upajunyata. Material possessions can be accepted as far as they can be used in devotional service. Anukuyena Krishnanu Shilanam. Anukuyasya Sankalpa. Pratikuyasya Vajanam. In preaching, many things considered material are needed. A devotee should not have any attachment for such material involvements as house, wife, children, friends, and cars. Maharaj Ambarish, for example, had all such things, but he was not attached to them. This is the effect of bhakti yoga. Bhakti, paresh anubhavo, viraktir, anyatracha. Bhagavatam 11.242. One who is advanced in devotional service has no attachment for material things, for sense enjoyment, but for preaching, to spread the glories of the Lord, he accepts such things without attachment. Anasaktasya vishayan yatataham upayunjata. Everything can be used to the extent that it can be engaged in Krishna's service. Om Gyan Timarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Petitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Brinda Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So here we're hearing about the famous pastime of Maharaj Ambarish. So Ambarish Maharaj, he was in a difficult situation because he was being chased by the... Does anyone remember the pastime? Ambarish Maharaj, what was taking place? What was he being chased by? Yeah, he was in a very difficult situation. Because Durvasa Muni, you know Durvasa Muni? Durvasa Muni, he is partially invested with the Shakti of Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva, one of his names is Asutosh. So Asutosh means? Yeah, it means he's pleased easily, but he also gets upset very easily. Do you know people like that? Have you met people like that in this material world? Some people easily upset, and then easily pleased. Some people have that temperament. So Lord Shiva is like that, easily upset, but then easily pleased. So Durvasa, he has some of this energy of Lord Shiva. So he is also like that. Right? Easily upset, easily pleased. So Ambarish Maharaj was in a difficult situation because Durvasa had become upset. So then this is the kind of pastime. Sometimes devotees find themselves in these difficult situations in this material world where we find ourselves having to take shelter of the Lord. So here it is said that Ambarish Maharaj, he was such a great devotee. He was willing to give everything to Krishna, which should be the mood of every devotee. We have to be willing to give everything to Krishna. Why do you have to give everything to Krishna? Because if you don't, he will take everything anyway. So it's up to you. You can either do it the easy way or the hard way. That's up to you. You can either surrender everything to Krishna, right? Or Krishna will just take everything. So these are the options. The options are either you give it voluntarily to Krishna, or Krishna will just take it. Just like it says in Bhagavatam, canto 2, your head is only there on your body to bow down before the Lord. So voluntarily you come before the Lord, you bow down, you offer dandavat, you offer obeisances. Or, Bhagavatam says, at the time of death, you will offer dandavats anyway. No? When you die, you go, that's it. So then now you're surrendered to Krishna. Krishna has taken everything. So either you do it voluntarily during your life, conscientiously, or Krishna will just take everything. So that they are the choices. So Ambarish Maharaj, he is one of the great personalities, a Mahajana. These personalities are there within the Bhagavatam. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Prabhupada says you have to associate with the book Bhagavatam and the people Bhagavatam. So you find the people in this material world, the devotees, who are following the principles of Bhagavatam, and you associate with them. And then you will become like them. Sangat sanjayate kama, Krishna says in Gita, right? Whatever sangha you keep, that is the desires that you will develop. If you want to become Krishna conscious, you have to associate with devotees. If you want to become advanced in Krishna consciousness, you have to associate with advanced devotees. Like Lord Chaitanya gives 5 principal ways to increase your Krishna consciousness. Sadhu Sangha, Nam Kirtan, Bhagavat Shravan, Mathuravash, Srimurtiya, Shradaya Sivan. Right? So these are the 5 main ways. So first one is sadhu sangha. You have to associate with sadhu. If you associate with sadhu, you become like a sadhu. Prabhupada said if you associate with the drunkards in the park, you'll become like them. If you associate with the people at the stock exchange, you'll become like them. If you associate with the devotees of Krishna, you'll become like them. So it's your choice. Whoever you want to associate with. So, Jiva Goswami says in his commentary on Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he says that Sadhu Sangha actually refers to advanced association, advanced devotees. We should associate with devotees. Any devotee is good. It's good to be with the devotees, right? But especially we should find advanced devotees, right? And associate with them, because you can only advance as far as the association that you receive. So in ISKCON we're very fortunate. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavat means associating with the person Bhagavatam and also the people Bhagavatam. The book and the people both have to be there. So we're fortunate because we can associate with Prabhupada every day in his books. So that means you can go to the level of Prabhupada, which means Uttama Adhikari, right? 100% pure devotee, because you're associating with the book, right? And you find the people, the devotees, who are like Prabhupada, who are following his footsteps, right? Who have become advanced in Krishna consciousness, right? And then you'll also become like that. So we associate with Ambarish Maharaj. He's like this. He's a pure devotee, gives everything to Krishna, right? What did he surrender to Krishna? Everything. What did he own? Everything. Right? He was the emperor of earth. It says the treasury was inexhaustible. Inexhaustible treasury. How much money was in the treasury? Like in your bank account, how much is in your bank account? Right? Everyone has to watch the bank account. Oh, we're going to India. I have 3 kids. That's 5 tickets, right? So it's like $6,000 minimum just to get to India, right? And back. You know, it's like, you know, you have to look at everything. Imagine if it was inexhaustible. Like Ambarish Maharaj. He could go anywhere he wants, right? Inexhaustible wealth. But he didn't have any attachment to it. Just like our great devotee, Jamuna Leela Mataji, she passed away very recently, right? Close friend of all of us in our community. So the day she is leaving, Radhanath Swami speaks to her, right? And what does Radhanath Swami say to her? Her Guru Maharaj. Give up your attachments. Give up your attachments now. Right? You only have a few moments left. Give them up. Let go of the attachment to family, right? To friends, to things in this world, right? Give up these things. Because if you don't give them up voluntarily, they'll be taken away, right? So Ambarish Maharaj had come to this point. He was in this world, but he did not have any attachment to this world. Already he'd given everything to Krishna. So you don't even have to give up these things. Just like if you look at the 12 Mahajans, like 7 are Grihastas. You look at the Panchatattva, all 5 were Grihastas at some point. Right? So you don't have to give up everything. Like for me, it's easier for me to practice devotional service in the Grihasta ashram. For another devotee, it's easier to practice in the Brahmachari ashram. For another devotee to be Vanaprastha. For another devotee to be sannyasi. So it just depends on your nature, that's all. But whichever ashram you're in, that is not the most important thing. The most important thing, are you giving everything you have to Krishna? If you're Grihasta, like Bhaktivinoda Thakur is the Grihasta Acharya. How many children, Bhaktivinoda Thakur? How many? 10 kids, right? 12? 11, 10, 11, 12. You know, who in the congregation has 10, 11, 12 kids? Who's got the most kids in our congregation? I think some we might have 4 maybe. Some got 4 maybe. Like that. I think that's like the most, I think. Imagine. Yeah, 4. Yeah. So imagine 10, right? Not easy. Imagine 10, not easy. What sort of a car would you have to have? 10 kids. You probably have to have like mini bus, right? And then imagine, then imagine going to India with 10 kids. What's that? It's like $12,000 minimum just to get there and back. Right? You've got to book up like a whole section in the plane. That's a lot to consider. Bhaktivinoda Thakur had 10, 11, 12 kids. That's a lot of kids. But what was his, as the Grihastha Acharya, what was Bhaktivinoda Thakur's secret? He said, my wife, Bhagavati, who was extraordinary, you see photos of her, she's a saint, sadhvi, right? She's a very exalted personality. My wife, my children, my home, everything, it belongs to you, Gopinath. It belongs to you, Krishna, the master of the gopis. That's how I do it. So if you think like that, if that's your abhiman, your consciousness, right? Even as a grihastha, it's not a disadvantage. Grihastha ashram is not disadvantage. It just depends what your consciousness is like, that's all. If your consciousness is correct, if you see everything in the service of Krishna, Prabhupada actually says, in some place, he said, you're even better than sannyasi. In some places Prabhupada says like that. So Ambarish Maharaj is teaching us, you don't have to give up everything, but you have to use it in Krishna's service. Just like some of our devotees here in Melbourne. They're very rich, millionaires in our congregation. I know some devotees, they gave $1 million donation to ISKCON projects, I know. I can't say their name because they would become upset with me, but I know they gave like that. So it means they have money, but they use it in Krishna's service. Right? That is the point. It's okay to have these things. You can have wife or husband like that. That's okay. But you have to engage those things in Krishna's service. Wife and husband have to assist each other. Actually, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, in Kali Yuga, Grihastha ashram is a good ashram for the Vaishnavas. Right? In Kali Yuga. It's good. Because most of the devotees are affected by the modes of nature. Passion and ignorance are strong in Kali Yuga. So it's good. If you can be brahmacharini, that's better, we recommend that. Right? But not possible for everyone. Most of the devotees will change ashram, so that's okay. But when you change the ashram, you have to stay connected to Krishna. Why are all the children making so much noise in this temple room? Hands up if you're a child and you're making lots of noise. Hands up if you're a child and you're being very quiet. That's good. Yeah, 2 up the back, very good. Yeah, you're being quiet, it's good. So be like these kids. These are your gurus. Be like these kids. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Grihastha ashram is good for the Vaishnavas in Kali Yuga. So it doesn't matter which ashram you're in particular. Right? It matters what your consciousness is like. Just like I was brahmachari for a number of years, and now I've been grihastha for more years than I was brahmachari. But I know that what is most important in your ashram, regardless of the external, whether you're wearing saffron or you're wearing white or whatever, what is most important is your namashraya, or your nam ruchi, which means how do you chant the holy name? That's what's most important. Some of the best rounds I ever chanted was when I was a brahmachari. And some of the best rounds I ever chanted were when I was a grihastha. So it's not the external thing which is important, it's your connection to the holy name which is more important than the external. Right? You just find which ashram you should be in. Right? Find if you should be brahmachari, grihastha, sannyasi, whatever it is, vanaprastha. Just find the ashram and chant the holy name with ashraya, with shelter. Take shelter of the holy name. Nama ruchi means Harinam Anukirtanam. Bhagavatam says, 2nd canto. The process of purification in Kali Yuga is Harinam Anukirtanam. Right? You have to take shelter of the holy name. That's how you really advance in Krishna consciousness. Satchidananda Swami, he told us this one time also. He said, all of us want to advance in Krishna consciousness. Now that's why we joined ISKCON. You want to advance. You want to become closer to Krishna, more Krishna conscious. So Satchidananda Swami, he told us one time, he said, sometimes you think the most important way to advance is to do the most difficult preaching engagements. Go to the countries which are the most difficult to preach in and do the most, Satchidananda Swami told us one time, he was in, it might have been Kosovo or one of these places, where they had the war in the 90s. A war broke out in Kosovo, and then, the Serbians and they're all fighting each other. Maharaj said he was doing a program because he thought, I have to go and preach there because, people need Krishna consciousness. He was doing program, he was sitting on the stage, and bullets started coming through the window. So Maharaj and everyone, they jumped under the stage. Everyone was hiding under the stage. Maharaj thought that was it. He thought, some military people are going to run in and just shoot everyone. But they never did. The bullets went through the window and then they hit and then, And Maharaj said he used to think that was the best way to get Krishna's mercy, was to preach in the most difficult places and do those things. But he said after many, many years of being a devotee, he said the most important way to get Krishna's mercy is the quality of your chanting, right? Above and beyond everything. It's how you chant the holy names of Krishna. You have to cultivate that. Prabhupada said, actually, it takes 40 years to perfect your chanting. So if you've been a devotee 40 years, you should have perfect chanting. Devotees who've been doing 40 years, they still say they haven't perfected it. Not easy, actually. So that is it's the cultivation, quality of the chanting. And Satchidananda Swami, he told us that at the end of your life, in your final moment, your final breath, if you can just say to Krishna, Krishna, I am yours, he said, you will go back to Krishna. That means you have to practice your whole life to be in that consciousness, because you'll be tested at the time of death. Your mind will go somewhere. Yam yam, vapi, smaran, bhavam. What will you think of at the time of death? What are you most attached to? Most of you will think of pizza. True or not true? Most of you will think of pizza. Oh, if I just had one more piece with mozzarella and pineapple. Maybe you will think like that. And then where will you be born? Italy. You'll be an Italian devotee. That's why so many devotees are appearing in Italy now. Because all the brahmacharis in ISKCON are attached to pizza, now they're all taking birth in Italy. So many devotees are coming. Now we're seeing so many devotees. Italian yatra is growing like anything. So the point is, what will you think of at the time of death? You have to say, Krishna, I am yours. And then at that moment, if you are thinking like that, Krishna, he will take you closer to him. That is the goal of the Krishna consciousness movement. So Ambarish Maharaj is showing us perfect example, because he had so much, right? And he was giving it all like that. You feel like that after time. You should be feeling like that. Actually, my Guru Maharaj in early 90s, I was with him, and he married. He did yajna for some of his disciples. He married them. And then during the ceremony, he was talking, and he said, actually, the purpose of the Grihastha ashram is to become detached. That's the purpose. you should be thinking, by the time you're 50, you should be feeling detached. You should be feeling like, I want to simplify things now. Right? You don't want to keep going, getting more and more material things and more involved in grihastha. You should be feeling detachment coming. That should be coming. Not that you're becoming more attached over time. But you should be having that natural feeling of vairagya. Vairagya vijja nija bhakti yogena. Lord Chaitanya came to teach us to become detached. That feeling should come as a grihastha. Right? As time goes by, you should feeling, I want to get less and less. You look at the Shastra, if you look at Bhagavatam, Priyavrata, he was great king. He went off to the forest. And they had to go and get him. They said, Maharaj, please come back. We need someone to run the kingdom. It was just a headache. Srila Prabhupada said, management means headache. Prabhupada said, management means headache. And he said, my books are my ecstasies, my purports. When Prabhupada was writing his purports, he felt ecstatic. When he was managing, he said it's a headache. Prabhupada actually said in the mid-70s, he said, I want to just give the management to my senior disciples and I will just go and just write. Prabhupada actually said that, but it never happened. Because Prabhupada never felt that he could fully hand it over. So he had to stay involved to some extent. Another example is Mahabharata. Pandu Maharaj. Pandu took over the earth. Right? He conquered Bharat, conquered the earth. Then he gave the kingdom to the Brahmanas to look after, and he said, I'll go to the forest. He said, just call me if you need me. He went out to the forest, right? Conquered everything. Said to the Brahmanas, run everything, run it nicely. I'll just be over there in the forest. If you need me, come and get me. I'll come back and I'll... but this is what a devotee feels like. After you get to around about 50 or... you should be feeling detachment. You want to lessen your material involvement in the material energy. Because this world is becoming much more crazy. Is that true or not? Is it true or not? Yeah, it is. I can feel it. I can feel it in the... Someone was telling me on Sunday actually at the farm, they said, we can feel it. I can feel it. All you kids just cover your ears. You don't need to hear this stuff. But the rest of us, the adults, we have to deal with it. The world's becoming more and more turbulent. So it's unfortunate. But when the world becomes like that, for the Hare Krishna movement, it's good for our business. Because Prabhupada said the family business is preaching. And when the world becomes turbulent, more people come to us. Right? We saw what happened after COVID. Right? More people came to our temples. Right? It got busier, right? And now it's going to get more unstable. Our movement will get busier. So we have to be ready to give shelter, right? Because when you're a senior devotee, right, and we are the senior devotees because we're already devotees, so anyone who comes now, they're going to be junior to us, we have to give them shelter. That's our seva. We have to give shelter to all the conditioned souls, because many will come. There's one statement where Prabhupada says, millions of people will come to our farms. Prabhupada said that. He said, millions of people will come. Because the world will fall apart. And then Prabhupada said, two things you need in life, two necessities in life. What are the two necessities in your life? Food and shelter. Right? So for devotees that means pizza and... they could probably live in a hut. That'd be okay in a hut. If they had pizza, they'd probably be okay. It means you need some food, some shelter. Right? So that is the necessity of life. And when the world becomes more problematic, people will just go back to the necessity. Prabhupada said millions of people will come to the farms. So we have to be ready to give shelter to all the living entities, because more and more are going to come to us. In the future. And we have to become, Prabhupada said, purity is the force. Purity as the force means we have to develop nam ruchi, we have to have Namashraya, where we're actually taking, Bhaktivinoda Thakur taught us, Namashraya, take shelter of the holy name. It's a deep thing, to take shelter of the holy name. The holy name is your life. It is the essence of Krishna consciousness. And Sanatana Goswami says the Bhagavatam is his best friend. My best friend is Bhagavatam. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam. You remember Krishna, which is the goal, by taking shelter of Bhagavatam, which means Prabhupada's books. Like at the moment I'm teaching the Chaitanya Charitamrita. That was the favorite book of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Favorite book out of all of the Gaudiya literatures, the favorite book. Bhaktivinoda Thakur had to find it. When Bhaktivinoda Thakur was absorbing himself in Krishna, he couldn't find a copy. It took him a few years to get a copy. Right? Srila Prabhupada, when he crossed on the Jaladuta, he was reading Chaitanya Charitamrita. It is the essence of the essence. It's actually the essence of the Bhagavatam, is Chaitanya Charitamrita. Right? So Prabhupada has given us enough books to read. Hands up if you've read the whole Bhagavatam. Hands up. Whole Bhagavatam, you read the whole Bhagavatam. Not everyone. Right? So we've got enough to read. Most of the devotees haven't even read the whole thing. Right? So there's enough to read. So read that. And then you've got to read Chaitanya Charitamrita. How many verses in Bhagavatam? 18,000. How many verses in Chaitanya Charitamrita? Right? 11,000. Right? These are big books. And most devotees struggle just reading Bhagavad Gita. Right? That's only 700 verses. Most devotees struggle chanting Shikshastika every day. That's only 8 verses. Right? That's why at the end of Bhagavad Gita, right, Krishna gives so many instructions throughout the Bhagavad Gita. 18th chapter is just like a summary of what was said. Nothing new is added. It is like a summary. Then Krishna says, Mamana bhavama bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. So he gives 4 instructions. Right? And then in between, there's more verses there. We have the 700 verses, but there's more conversation, which is there. Baladev Vijabhushan, he gives us more. After Krishna gives those 4 instructions, Arjuna says, can you please just give 1 instruction? So then the next verse, Savadamam Purinjaja. Mame kam. Eka means 1. Sharana Braja. Surrender unto me. That is the whole Bhagavad Gita in 1 line. If you remember that line, you've remembered everything. Savadaman Purijaja. Reject everything else except surrender to Krishna. That is the essence of the entire Gita. So that is our focus. So Ambarish Maharaj is teaching us how to become perfect devotees. Right? It's okay having things. You can be rich. Actually, devotees should be rich. Because the more rich we are, the more we can use the Lakshmi in Krishna's service. If you're going to be a Grihasta, be a rich Grihasta. Make lots of money. Right? And then you can use it to spread the Krishna consciousness movement. That should be our goal. Right? So it's not wrong having material things, but you have to use those things in Krishna's service. Okay? Any questions or comments? In this material world. Yeah. Is the microphone working? Or? Okay. Just over here. Om Shanti 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 Om.
Hare Krishna. Do you find that more and more people are now interested in more general sort of spirituality rather than how in ISKCON we present a systematic way of advancing in spiritual life? And so that's why then it's hard to attract them to what we have to offer. Yeah. Do you find that? And how do you deal with that?
Yeah, because every 5 years in Australia they do a census to work out how many people are here, and then, the government needs to work it all out. They do it in India. Do they do census? Is it accurate? India must be hard. Yeah, it must be hard because so many villages and people like that. So, I mean, but the government needs to do that. So in Australia, they do every 5 years. So on the last one, a few years back, because one thing you write in the census is what is your religion? So people identifying with a particular religion is going down. Right? There's less people saying they are religious. But spirituality is going up. So people are more interested than ever in spiritual things, but not in an organized religion. So it means that more people are coming, but we just have to, Prabhupada says, rack our brains and very new ways to get them to come. Just like not this weekend, but the weekend after, at the farm we're doing vegetarian cooking and yoga retreat. So we tell all the people, come, we'll teach you how to cook vegetarian nice food. Nitai Premananda Prabhu comes, he teaches them. And we teach you yoga. But then all through the whole retreat, we do kirtan. At the end of the yoga class, we say, oh, would you like to chant with us? They say, yeah, that sounds good. So now, kirtan, they're all going, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And then we cook the vegetarian food, the bhog, but then we say, but now we're going to offer it to Krishna. Would you like to learn? And they say, yeah, show us how to do that. So then we show them how to offer the food. So it means people are more interested, but maybe we just have to, the way we package, like the outer coating. It's like when Prabhupada came to America, he had one like pamphlet, one brochure, and it said, bringing India's message of peace and goodwill. That's the way Prabhupada wrote. Prabhupada didn't say, bringing the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, to all the asuras within. Prabhupada didn't say like that. Right? He said, India's message of peace and goodwill. So, it means how we package, what's on the inside is the same, but what's on the outside, we have to think of unique ways to do it. So people are more interested now than ever, but we have to be intelligent how they do it. Just like my Guru Maharaj in the 1990s in Hong Kong, they would, some of the brahmacharis and others, they would teach yoga classes because they're in Hong Kong. So I think it was 10-week yoga course. So they teach yoga class, and part of the yoga class was chanting one round of japa. And every yoga class, they made 1 or 2 devotees every 10 weeks. But they didn't advertise it as japa or kirtan because people not come, but just yoga. And then, so we have to work out whatever ways, different ways.
Thank you.
Okay, please come again.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the nice class. Prabhu, you were talking about material attachments, so I wanted to ask, if we practice devotional service throughout our entire life, but at the time of death we still have a material desire, how will that be taken?
That means you will take birth in the material world. That's what it means. You'll be a devotee, but you have to take birth again. I think it was in Back to Godhead, actually. There was one story in the early 70s. Prabhupada had one disciple in England. He was brahmachari. But he became attached to one of the Matajis who was coming for Sunday feast, who had Indian body. There's an actual story. I think it was in Back to Godhead. Yeah, it was in Back to Godhead. You can look it up. It was in Back to Godhead. So he was Prabhupada's disciple, but he was attached to this Indian Mataji who was coming. And then he died in a car accident in the early 70s. And then took birth as an Indian Mataji in England, who grew up and became a devotee, goes to the temple, looks very similar to the one that he was attached to, he was thinking of at the time of death, and then he's become like that, and now he comes to the temple, and he had memories and everything, and talked about this car crash, and then they proved, it was all, so that devotee is there. like that. So if you think of material things, you'll be devotee, but you take birth again. So you have to give up your material attachments, because then you can go to Krishna. So both are good. It's good to, you're still a devotee, it's good, but going to Krishna might be nice as well. We have to go back to Krishna one day. We can't just stay here forever and ever and ever and ever. Is that okay? Okay. Any other questions? Yeah.
Hare Krishna. You were mentioning how the devotee who was preaching in all these dangerous places, he had the realization that actually the best purifying process was chanting. And we see in these great, Mahajans like Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, he chanted 1 billion names of the Lord. And, Satyananda Maharaj, he was chanting a lot as well. And we know that because we're the Goshyandi kind of movement, we're a preaching movement, but it seems like a lot of these great devotees who dedicate a lot of portion of their time in just kind of becoming more, situated in the holy name at the start, and then when they came out to preach, it was very, very, it had a lot of fire, it had a lot of, it was very potent. How come that's not a recommended process for most of us now, because generally when you come to Hare Krishna movement, you're just kind of, encouraged to just go out and preach, go out and do service, rather than just maybe become a bit more connected with the holy name first?
Probably first, for most devotees, they probably wouldn't have the capacity to, chant like 64 rounds a day or something in the beginning. It's probably something like Satyananda Swami's example you quoted. He did that later on. He'd been a devotee for a period of time. Then he started to chant more and do like that. So for most devotees, I don't think it would work. If we had them just chanting 64 rounds regularly in the beginning, I think it'd be too much. So, but if the desire is coming over time, then you can take periods of time. Like sometimes you can go to India for a month, and then you can just do extra chanting and you can absorb yourself. So, periodically you can take breaks, and during those breaks you can just do extra chanting and absorb yourself. So that will come. But there's so much preaching to do. We have to do the preaching. And then, we take our breaks occasionally and then we absorb ourselves. I remember years ago, maybe early 90s, the night or the day before the marathon started on Monday. So on Sunday I chanted 64 rounds. I just wanted to get myself so fired up. So I just sat here in the temple and chanted. I can't remember if it was 32 or 64, I can't remember, but just chanted. And then the next day just ready to go. I know one sannyasi who stays in Vrindavan a lot. He chants 64 rounds a day, a lot. And then one time, he was going back to America to preach. He'd been chanting 64 rounds for a long time. He said, I feel like a volcano. Now I go back to America. It's because you've been building up so much, absorption like that. And then you can go and just give your realizations to others. So you have to do both. Any other questions? Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Tonight, send me a message, because I have to check. Yeah, I'll have to see what my schedule is for tonight.